This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so before I start, Sarah has joined. Hi, Sarah. Could you say hi to the house, please? I believe you're on mute.
No, she's not.
I saw her join. Maybe she joined and left. All right, cool. Let's get started then. So today's topic is understanding cloud computing. So this is our tech talk for April 2020. I'm just going to be doing the reading, and then Paul is going to do the in-depth explanation. Okay, Sarah has arrived back. Hello, Sarah. Hi, Sarah. Can you unmute yourself? Oh,
okay. Let's just get cracking.
Let's just go ahead. I'll maybe midway or towards the end. So for those that have come through our training, for those that are already working, for those that are yet to start working, my name is David Ageba. I don't know if I introduced myself here and introduced Paul. Hopefully next one I'll do that introduction. And our focus is to help our student transition job from a non-IT jobs to an IT-based jobs. And I believe we have few people on this tech talk that are already gone through the process and are currently working, so they will be more aware of what we are covering today. So what are we looking at today? So we're looking at the introduction to cloud computing, essential characteristics of cloud computing, cloud network, cloud deployment model, cloud delivery mechanism, business drivers for cloud computing, migration from traditional IT to cloud, and also then the conclusion. Then we'll have a Q&A session. What are our objectives? So after completing this talk, you should be familiar with cloud computing definition, describing cloud computing in one sentence, factors that lead to adoption of cloud computing, explaining cloud concepts such as infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. The business benefit of cloud computing for IT, application deployment and testing, and differentiating between the traditional IT and cloud computing services. Are we using the cloud yet? I don't need the cloud. I use an external drive. I believe a lot of us, some years ago, we have a lot of external drives, and our smartphones used to have the SanDisk, the small chips that you slot in and slot out, where it holds the data for all your images and your videos or any files you have on your phone. It is on that drive. That is an external drive. And I still have one external drive at the moment as well, even though I'm talking about cloud computing today. So are we using the cloud yet? So let's look at some of the big companies that are using cloud, and probably you are using the cloud. If you are unaware. You can see Dropbox. If you have Dropbox, it's a cloud. Google Drive is a cloud. YouTube, Netflix, eBay, Twitter, all of these applications, Facebook, Xbox, OnLive, Kendu, Google Play, all of these applications are driven by cloud infrastructure. We're going to see how. So what is cloud computing? Paul, I'll need your help here. So cloud computing is a new way of thinking when delivering IT-enabled business services like application development, and test.
Okay.
Cloud is okay. Go on.
No, I was just going to add there that many people may remember back in the 80s, early 90s, even going into the early 2000s, where a lot of companies were hosting their own websites locally. So they had a server in a room which was managed by the IT department, and they managed the hardware, they managed the software updates, they made sure that when increased traffic hit their web server, which was sitting in that room, they would be able to add another one to help deal with the increased load. What has happened and how it's evolved over time is to cloud computing, and we can take all of those elements, the hardware, the software, and the application, and we can put all or some of those up in the cloud, as David said. Okay, so by putting them up in the cloud, there's a number of benefits. Number one, you no longer have to manage the hardware. You no longer have to manage the software upgrades, because that's all taken care as part of the service with regards to your infrastructure or platform that you've put up in the cloud. So there's a big benefit there. The other advantage is that should you need to, and let's take Black Friday as an example here, the Amazon big sale event called Black Friday. When that day starts approaching, which is now a week, a lot of businesses and organizations and they would start to mimic what Amazon doing. And what they do is they prepare by making sure that they have the ability to absorb the increased volume of traffic. Now, in the traditional way, where you had a server room with your web server on premise or in that server room, you would have to plan ahead to see how much traffic you're likely to get. You'd have to work out then if your current hardware and software and applications are robust enough to ingest the additional number of requests coming in, and then you would have to scale that up accordingly. So that could be buying in more servers, maybe expanding out your services or application. So there's a big cost and time element there. With cloud computing, you can program everything to do that automatically. So as your traffic increases, your system will just increase automatically. And then when the traffic decreases, it will scale back down. So that's one of the biggest benefits, the scalability and flexibility to increase your service offering to your customers and decrease it based on demand for that service.
Okay, so to summarize what Paul has said, I'll give us a practical example. Remember those days when you walk into the bank, sometimes you hear that the network is down, or mostly they'll tell you the network is down, and they'll have an IT person running around going into the server room trying to restart machine or trying to do some technical stuff for the server to come up. Now, if you guys can see me, you have 20 branches of NatWest Bank. Those 20 branches of NatWest Bank, each branch will have a server room that will enable them run the banking transaction. And at the end of the day, all the transaction information will be forwarded to the head office branch. All right. But with cloud, you don't need those server rooms anymore. All of those infrastructure, as Paul says, the hardware, the software, the application will move into what we call a data center, a massive warehouse with server rooms, application and data servers that can be managed remotely. And with that, there is the opportunity for economic of scale. The more transaction you have, you can automatically start up new machines. You can outsource, and also it is self-serve. You can have a team that manages the application remotely. So the guys in the bank will always have their network, have access to the application. That is why these days it is hard for you to see a web application messing up or not available. They are always available because we have this cloud infrastructure enabled. Okay, so it says cloud is an essentially an IT consumable and delivery model that is optimized by workload. The more people that are on the service, the more machine that is spin up. The less people, the less machine that is spin up. With that, you reduce a lot of cost. Instead of having a server room where whether you have 1 million people or not, it is always running and consuming data and energy. All right, so that is in summary. So how does the cloud computing network look like? So you have your cloud network. You have things like the mobile phone connected to the cloud, your PC, your tablet, your remote server, your data server, your netbook computer, and also your personal computer. So every cloud is some combination of a service and deployment model. Regardless of the type of cloud, one fact remains true. No network means no cloud. So without network, it is impossible for the cloud service to be enabled or run. All right. So without network, users cannot access their cloud service. Application data and users cannot move between cloud, and the infrastructure component that must work together to create a cloud cannot be available. All right. So what are the attributes to cloud network? We have scalability, low latency, guaranteed performance, extensible management, and self-healing resilience. Paul, can you please touch on these items: scalability, low latency, and in short, all of the points? I don't need to start reading them.
Yeah, no. So like I was saying before, when we talk about scalability, we're talking about how we can add extra capacity. So going back to my example of the Black Friday week, where we are bombarded with loads and loads of discounted items that we can purchase online. A lot of companies want to make sure they can handle that volume of traffic. And scalability means just that, to be able to handle an increased amount of traffic coming to your